Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to take a look at the urban worm bag that has the European night crawlers in it. Now, it's been about 2.5 months since I last checked in on this bin, and it's going to need some food, it's going to need bedding, and we're going to have to really take a look at the worms. With that, I know the system needs a harvest, but it's August 7th. I want to push out the harvest just a little longer, maybe till the end of August, so that way when I go to try to fix my yard especially, I can add this to the soil as I do some aeration and reseeding to make sure I maintain the yard that's required for my neighborhood. So with that, let's take a look at the system, let's get some food in there, and let's see how these worms are doing. All right, here we are with our urban worm bag. Just a reminder, these have the European night crawlers in it. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, and let's see how this system is doing. Oh, all right. It looks like they didn't go quite as much through the top. Definitely have some dryness on the lid here. Still have our container here to catch those fruit flies. I'm just going to go ahead and take that out. There we go. I just like to scrape everything off here. There's always a couple worms that are grasped on the bottom there. Let me just move that off to the side. And look at that. We've still got a lot of paper on top, but it's just a thin layer. But that's probably because it's also a little bit dry. See, there's a mango seed right here. So those mangoes they take a while to break down, especially those seeds. Got some corn on the cob here, which is usually a food that they like, but they do take a while to break down. But look at that. You can see that it's already starting to break down. Got another one over here. Worms are congregating on it like crazy. And I do see a lot of springtails on the surface here. So there's a lot of springtails in the system. Pretty normal. Usually, they're one of those things that help break down everything. So you can see they're starting to work here a little bit into the paper. All right, now this black material right here, this is actually biochar, or I should say charcoal, that I added to the system. This is homemade charcoal. I didn't crush it up a whole lot. It's pretty light because it's primarily made of these peanut shells. So some of them maybe didn't break down quite enough. This one looks like could have gone a little bit longer, but the majority of them were just flakes. So let's just dig down a little bit. Oh, wow, this has really compacted the soil. This definitely needs to be harvested because it shouldn't be this compacted. But look at that. You can see it's really compacted right now. So I really need a harvest from the bottom on here. As I said, I'm trying to push this off just a little bit longer, maybe the end of the month, and then I'm going to do a big harvest from here. Probably try to really refresh this system. But you can see there's still quite a few worms in here, even though I haven't fed them in about 2 months or 2.5 months. I think it's what's today? August 7th, and it looks like it was May 23rd was my last update. If I'm looking at if I actually wrote down the date correctly, and I didn't do anything else in between. So we're going to go ahead and leave that stuff in there. We got another mango seed right there. Had some hard stuff in here, it looks like, for them to break down, or stuff that takes a while. Very normal. All right, let's just dig this a little bit more. This is really, really compacted in there. Surprised actually there's worms that seem to be that far into the compacted areas. And right now we're just going to go ahead and kind of flake this around. You can see here's a good piece of biochar right here. So you can see right here, trying to make sure this is on camera, this piece, well, it's a little hard for me to break it, but you can see inside, it's all burnt through. So that's one of the new things I've been trying to do, is make biochar and charcoal, and then add it to the systems, I should say, to make biochar. So you mix it in here, it gets chemically and activated, and that way I can throw this in my yard. This charcoal should last a long time in the soil, and hopefully also help the soil so it doesn't get as compacted as these bins are. It's really compacted down at the bottom, I can really tell. You can just see though. But we're just sort of mixing this up a little bit. Normally I don't mix this. I'd really rather just harvest it and have everything sort of fall in and settle again. But I feel like that this needs to be mixed up a little bit, as it's you can see it's just very, very compacted. Another corn cob. Again, we're going to just go ahead and break that open. Looks like they're really starting to work through these corn cobs pretty well. That's the same piece of the other one that we saw before. I'm going to move this out of the way. Oh, here's another corn cob. Again, easily broken open. They already ate out the inside and are continuing to dig through it. And you can just see there's actually a lot of worms in here. I know at one point there wasn't nearly as many because I hadn't checked on the system in a while. And you can see how compacted this is. You can see that it's really Yeah, it's really hard to break these apart. It's actually too dry right now, but you can see there's tons and tons of worms in here. So this system is well activated with worms. I was really sort of worried, but I guess I don't need to be right now. Hopefully they just stay near the surface. We're going to give them a good feeding. But right now we're just trying to break some of this apart, give them some area to roam in. And these are these European night crawlers, so they're a little bigger than the red ones that you'd find, but right now they're a little small because of the fact that there's just not enough food in here and not enough moisture to keep them big. So just kind of mixing all this up, getting everything moving around a little bit. I'm sure they're searching for more food as they are running out. We've only got those really big corn cobs and a couple mango seeds, which take a long time to break down. But we're gonna give them a good feeding here, and with quite a bit of stuff, and try to get this fully activated again, and really get these worms going, build this up a little bit more, and then hopefully before the end of the month, hopefully I'll be harvesting all these systems right around that time to get ready for, as I said, I'm hoping that I can take care of my yard this year for the first time really ever, or not ever, but in 4 or 5 years, really do an aeration, get this stuff down in the soil with some seed, and kind of build up my soil again in the yard with this nice, great material. With that, I'm going to put on a mask right now because we're going to add our first thing, which is crushed crab and eggshell. I haven't added this stuff in a long time because I've been adding my Vitamix cat leavings, but I've been adding that just to my yard and some other places. So we're going to go ahead and add that in here. And I've got a mask on because you shouldn't breathe this dust. This is dust that'd be bad to breathe in. There we go. It's a good amount. And we're going to go ahead and add some food. Now this food is frozen. Hopefully there's no worms on top. Actually, maybe I'll add just a sprinkling of, before we do that, I'm going to add a sprinkle of just some fresh cardboard. This is dry cardboard, just to kind of protect the worms a little bit that are on the surface right now. And we got some watermelon. This is frozen watermelon. It is frozen solid in a cube. I'm not going to be able to break it apart really. At least I don't think I can. No, it doesn't look like it. So, frozen watermelon. But good thing to add to the system. Good amount of moisture content. And also lots of sugars that the worms like, and the microbes like, I should say. And then we've got this one right here. This is a whole mixture of stuff right now. So we've got coffee grounds, banana peels, tea leaves, some asparagus, got some avocado shells. These things take a long time to break down unless you smash them apart. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of break them apart. We got an avocado seed. As you can see, this stuff breaks apart pretty easily. Banana peels. Oh, looks like we have a full banana that went bad. I know one of these, I think there was just mush when we got it. Or they didn't taste good or something. I can't remember. Normally we never have bananas that go in here that are full. We always eat all the bananas we have in the house. So I don't know what happened with that one. But this isn't a massive feeding, but it's a decent sized feeding. And then we're going to go ahead and add something else here that I don't add to my systems very often, but I am trying to use up some of these materials that I've had for a while. So this is neem cake. If it'll come into focus there. There we go. Neem cake. I'm just going to add a little bit of this. This is something that you're supposed to add, I heard, to get rid of like bugs and different things, but I've never found it to work all that well, so I'm just adding it to my bins to try to use up the rest of it since I don't really need it. And then our last thing here, wet paper. So we're going to add that wet paper right on top. There's a lot of water in here too that's going to come out too. I'm sure you can hear that. Gonna add a lot of water moisture to the system because the worms definitely need moisture. There we go. Couldn't get it out for a second there. Gonna spread this all around. This is all really nice and wet. And scrape out our barrel here. Now, one thing I didn't have to add this time, I didn't feel I needed to, is I didn't spray down the system. It's definitely on the dry side, but it wasn't overly like, the entire top wasn't dry. So I didn't really feel like I needed that much moisture where I had to spray it. And also I knew that there was a lot of moisture in there. So with that, we're going to go ahead and put this our little fruit fly trap back in here. And we're gonna seal this back up, and we're gonna hopefully try to, as I said, harvest it by the end of the month. But so far, system's looking good. Material looks great. I'm gonna have to make sure I break it apart before I put it in the yard, but it's looking good. And that's it for this update. Thank you for watching. And please, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and let me know.